Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto x Bloom x Roxy x Stella? Part 3. If you want more awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Magics, 1 month later. It was now November of 2016, a month after the Trix attacked the school. This past month Naruto and Kurama have been hard at work training with the Winx and Skies group. Naruto had to get Musa, Tecna, Stella and Aisha up to par with Bloom, Roxy and Flora. He had made sure to take away Stella's ring during training so she didn't use the boost it gave her. He put them through the works, giving them all types of exercises to do repeatedly and sparring with them in CQC. For weapons training, Naruto had gathered samples of magic from Tecna, Aisha and Musa to create weapons for them. For Musa, a set of black gauntlets and greaves with a somewhat animalistic look. The gauntlets vaguely resemble a wolf's head, with fangs and mane. The greaves look like clawed legs. They also have glowing veins that have purple light flowing through them. This was Beowulf 1. It gives Musa a speed boost while running, while also emitting sonic light attacks when punching or kicking. In addition, she had a purple, one-neck guitar with many electric strings and some skeletal-looking features. It hides or cloaks a three-pronged scythe underneath, which is basically folded into it. This was Neven 2. It also can fire off purple bats and electric bolts when played. For Tecna, were 4 purple and silver guns. They are based on a parabellum pistol in design, though the barrel has been heavily modified to accommodate melee-based combat. Attached to the underside of each pistol's grip is a little plush cat, with each one corresponding to one of the 4 primary characters in the literary work, the Three Musketeers. 3. She held 2 in her hands, while the other 2 were attached to the back of her heels. This made for a weird and unique fighting style that allowed her to fire off rounds in CQC and from a long distance. And finally for Aisha, a deep blue trident with white gems embedded along it. This was Riptide. It allowed her to draw water from the atmosphere and plants to attack. She could also throw it like a javelin and have it returned to her. Training the girls how to use their new weapons took Naruto quite a while. Fortunately, since Aisha was the most fit and active, it didn't take as long to get her fitness level up. And she wielded the trident like a professional. When he questioned her, she told him that she used to play with a toy one when she was a child. Besides weapons, he also helped them develop their magic abilities. With Musa, he remembered the invasion during his Chunin exams and the sound shinobi he met and how they fought, so he told her to try and use her sound to set people off balance. She also developed a sonic cry that had enough force to send a car flying. With Aisha, he wrote down some water-style techniques from his scrolls for her to use. He had her practice drawing water from her surroundings as well. She also experimented with her morphic spells. For Tecna, he told her to try and copy some moves from some of the games that they've played together, and see if they worked for real. He also wrote down some lightning techniques that she would find useful. For Stella, he didn't know any moves that dealt with sunlight. So he just told her to read some books and watch some TV to get some ideas and inspiration. Naruto was an absolute slave driver in training the girls, as well as the specialists. He'd have them running laps, doing sit-ups and push-ups, lifting weights and sparring against each other or him. He had also got to make Helia's armor. It was white in color with gold accents. 6 blue tassels are now attached to the back of his armor, with gold and cross-shaped pendants on the end. There is a blue cape with gold trims attached for. His sword was a European longsword with edges white as his armor, the midsection and guard bright gold, and the hilt blue 5. This was Arandite. It didn't have any noteworthy abilities except for an energy strike that pushed the user mana to the limit. Alphia Cafeteria, morning time. We now find Naruto along with Roxy, Stella, Bloom and Musa eating breakfast on this fine Friday morning. Today was the Day of Rose, a holiday where people honor their mothers. So why did you guys stay? Asked Musa. Didn't want to make myself more homesick by going back, said Bloom. Ditto, said Roxy. My parents are divorcing and it's hard to be near them, said Stella. You already know my answer. So why did you decide to stay? Asked Naruto to Musa. I don't really like to talk about it, but my mom passed away when I was young. And me and my dad aren't really talking right now, said Musa in a sad tone. Alright, enough of this doom and gloom. Today there's a festival town along with a race. Naruto, you should totally enter it for fun, said Stella with a smile. Naruto nodded at that. Totally. Let's go guys, said Naruto. Roxy and Bloom nodded, while Musa stayed back. Hey, you guys can go ahead. I don't really feel like going out, said Musa. She then turned walking away from the group. Not wanting to leave her alone, Naruto said, you girls go on ahead. I'll go talk to her and catch up. The girls nodded and he ran after Musa. Naruto didn't notice them all smiling mischievously. Alfea balcony. 10 minutes later, Naruto finds Musa sitting at the edge of the balcony, looking at a video projection of a beautiful older woman. So that's your mom, huh? I can see where you got your looks from, said Naruto, alerting Musa to his presence. She blushed at his comment before shaking her head. Hey, I thought you were going to join the race at the festival? What are you doing here? Questioned Musa. Yeah, I'm still going. But I wanted to check up on you, said Naruto. It's okay, I'm fine, said Musa with a fake smile. Naruto moved towards her, wrapping his arms around her, which caused her to freeze. Stop lying to me, Musa. I can sense when people are lying. Just let it out, said Naruto in a soft tone, rubbing her back. Musa began to break down, sobbing into his shirt. She wailed and wailed, letting out her sadness. What would she say if she could see me now? Would she be disappointed in me? I think she would love you no matter what. I believe she would be proud of how talented and beautiful you've become. She would be overjoyed that you are following your dreams, said Naruto, rubbing the tears off her face. His eyes focused on Musa's and hers on his. Musa felt touched by Naruto's comforting words. She felt so warm in his embrace. The other girls are so lucky to have a guy like you, really lucky. Her emotions were high as she gazed into his eyes. Ah, to hell with it, she thought as she grabbed Naruto by the collar and pulled him into a searing kiss. Naruto's eyes grew wide before he reciprocated the kiss, pouring his emotions into it. They stood there making out for a few minutes before separating. Well, said Musa, red in the face and panting. Yes, said Naruto, equally red in the face. There was then a flash of light before a voice spoke. Wahoo! Another harem sister acquired. Turning around, they saw Stella standing there with a camera, a bright smile on their face. Bloom and Roxy were behind here with smiles on their faces. Wait guys, I'm so sorry. It was just the heat of the moment, said Musa with Naruto nodding. Oh, you're okay, sweetie. We expected this to happen. We wanted you to make a move on him, said Stella. What? Screamed the duo. Yeah, we expected other girls to fall for our whiskered prince here, said Bloom. Now that you've joined the harem, we only have to wait for Flora, Aisha and Techna to make a move, said Roxy, grinning. You guys can't be serious. I thought you were joking about the harem, said Naruto, covering his crimson face. Musa, snapping out of her daze, bursted out laughing. She then moved in front of Naruto and began to shower his face with kisses. She ended with another kiss on the lips and grabbed his crotch. You have enough love for all of us, don't you, big boy? She cooed out, making steam come out of Naruto's ears. Heh heh heh, I guess, said Naruto with a goofy smile on his face. He then shook his head. You guys are something else. Anyway, aside from that, we should get going. I don't want to miss the race. The other girls nodded at this, and they made their way to the transport bus. Magic City. 2 hours later, we now find our group walking around, as roses were falling from the sky. They saw Sky, Brandon, and Riven up ahead. Hey guys, how's it going, guys? Said Naruto, with the other girls greeting them as well. Hey man, nothing much. You entered the race today? Asked Brandon. Hell yeah. And he's gonna win it, said Stella, giving Naruto a kiss on the cheek. You'll have to get through me first. I'm winning this year, said Riven fiercely. Those sound like betting words, my friend, said Naruto with a grin. Oh, most definitely. How about this? If I win, you let me take Bloom as my escort for the dance this evening? Said Riven, causing Naruto to flinch. Oh, you really shouldn't have said that, said Naruto as he watched a flower pot hover over Riven's head. Splash. Riven was covered head to toe in water, leaving him soaked. He turned to see Bloom standing in front of him with a pissed-off look on her face. Hey, maybe you cannot talk about me like I'm some prize, said Bloom, her eyes glowing orange with anger. And even if you were the last guy on Earth, I wouldn't date you. You're totally conceited. Totally beepy. Totally boring, waste of good oxygen. I'm sorry, but guys like you give guys a bad name. Riven, you are really cute when you're angry, you know that? Riven told her in an attempt to flirt, grabbing her chin. And he's chosen death, mumbled Naruto, with the other girls nodding in agreement. Bloom raised her hand and brought it down against Riven's face. Slap. There was a red handprint left on Riven's cheek. He grew angry before walking off with a pissed-off look on his face. Bloom turned back to the group huffing and crossing her arms. Who does he think he is? He'll never get a girl like that. She said, sorry about Riven. Today makes him a little hard to deal with, since his mother abandoned him as a child. Sky explained to them. Bloom flinched, feeling a little bad about how she humiliated him. So he's really just hurting and trying to mask it, thought Naruto. I'm gonna go find Riven a gift to apologize, said Bloom. The group nodded as she left. Naruto and the rest of the guys then left to get ready for the race. 1 hour later, the racers were all lined up at the starting line. Naruto had summoned Cavalier and had put on some goggles. In the crowd was Stella and the rest of the girls, with Roxy holding Kurama. Racers, are you ready? Asked the referee. Seeing them all nod their heads, he raised his flag and dropped it, shouting, Start! Insert song, Subhuman, Devil May Cry 5, and they were off, with Naruto in the lead and Riven on his tail. They continued throughout the track, making elaborate turns and drifts. Some racers had wiped out, though they weren't hurt. The only racers left were Riven, Brandon, Naruto, and a mystery rider. Riven had eventually passed Naruto, and looked like he was going to win. All of a sudden Bloom appeared, in her fairy form racing after Riven. Bloom, what's going on? Asked Naruto, as he kept up with her on his ride. The Trix, they disguised one of their minions as Timmy and tricked me into giving Riven a faulty helmet, explained Bloom. I've got to stop him before he hurts himself. They both heard a scream and saw Riven's helmet frying with electricity. This caused him to lose his balance, crashing into an obstacle and was sent flying. Seeing that something needed to be done, Naruto summoned a shadow clone to jump and catch Riven, cushioning his fall. Naruto then crossed the finish line, before dismissing his bike and heading back towards Riven. When he reached Riven, he saw the mystery rider checking on Riven. The rider removed their helmet, revealing Darcy. Hey, you okay? She asked. Riven became lost in her eyes before replying. I am now beautiful, he said, causing Darcy to giggle. Riven, get away from her! Shouted Bloom, landing near the pair. How about you get away from me? You totally played me. Just so your boyfriend could win the race? Riven shouted back in anger. Riven, she was tricked into it. She would never do that on purpose, said Naruto, as the rest of the group approached. Of course you would defend her. She won you the race, he shot back. You know what, I'm out of here, he began to walk away. Hey Riven, wait up! Shouted Darcy, following after him. Riven smiled at her, allowing her to join him. Darcy! Shouted Naruto. She turned to look at him, only to freeze at the sight of blood-red eyes. Behind him was the silhouette of a giant menacing kitsune. You better not hurt him, or else I'm coming after you, she quickly nodded and ran ahead to catch up with Riven. Hey, is everything okay? Musa asked, a little worried. Yeah, it's just a little squabble. Hopefully things will go back to normal in a while, said Naruto. This is my fault. If only I had known that wasn't Timmy, said Bloom in a sad tone. Hey, don't beat yourself up. Just give Riven some time, said Brandon. Hey, let's head home for today, said Roxy. The rest of them nodded, bidding each other farewell and making their way to the transport bus. Althea, next morning, we find Naruto chilling with the Winx in their dorm. Bloom had come to him saying that her dreams of Daphne have been becoming more frequent. Her magic has also been going haywire while she's asleep. I was really worried when Bloom kept flashing into her fairy form while sleeping, said Flora. Well, I've been looking up Daphne in any history books I could find, but it comes up empty so far, said Naruto. Well, thanks for trying anyway, Bloom told him, looking down. Musa then walked in the room saying, hey, I'm going into Magic City. Anybody want to come along? Sure, I'm down. Anyone else? Said Naruto. The rest of the girls except for Bloom said no. The trio then made their way to the transport bus, intent on spending the day relaxing in the city. Magic City, 2 hours. The three of them were walking around the city, looking for something to do. It was at that moment that Naruto noticed a new building. It was a dance club and had recently opened up. How about we check this place out? Said Naruto, gesturing to the building. Sure. I wonder what music they'll have, said Musa in an excited tone. I'm down to dance, said Bloom, with a shrug. As they entered the building, they were greeted by the receptionist and directed to the main dance hall. There were a bunch of people there, moving and grooving to the beat. The DJ then appeared, and said, greetings everyone and welcome to the newly opened dance club. Everyone cheered at that. Now we have a special event. We are now taking song recommendations and group performances. The people in the crowd began to mumble at this, deciding what to perform. Guys, we should totally go first, said Musa, eager to perform. I don't know, there's a lot of people here, said Bloom, a little nervous. Don't worry, Bloom, we got this, said Naruto, grinning. Musa will follow your lead on this one. Musa nodded at that. She went to the DJ, already having a song in mind. After informing the DJ, the group moved on to the stage. All right, everyone, let's give it up for our first performers, Musa, Bloom, and Naruto, shouted the DJ as the crowd cheered. No, let's hit it. He then pressed play for their song. Insert song, Gangstar Torture Dance, JoJo Part 5. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Musa started off the dance, with Naruto and Bloom bumping to the beat. She moved through the moves, with Naruto eventually following the same moves. Ah, we're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Ayaha! We're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Bloom finally joins in, syncing her movements with Naruto and Musa's. The crowd went wild, cheering and dancing along with them. It's like a burning sunrise. Ahi makarera mak harpunpunkeet. It's like a burning sunset. Ahi makarera mak harpunpunkeet. It's like a burning sunrise. Ahi makarera mak harpunpunkeet. It's like a burning sunset. Ah, we're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Ayaha! We're Golden Wind. Kono mi amareri marareri maramaro. Yeah! It's like a golden wind. I'm dancing for your mind. I'm shaking like a, shaking like a, shaking like a, shaking like a, shaking like a burning golden wind. Spread wide your golden wind. Why don't you dance to swing? I'm swinging like a, 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 swinging like a golden wind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Coming from my mind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level coming from my mind. Coming from my mind. It's like a burning sunrise. Song end. Hoo-hoo! Bellowed out the crowd at the great performance. Yeah, let's give it up again for Musa, Bloom, and Naruto, shouted the DJ, the crowd giving another round of applause. Musa and Bloom grabbed Naruto into a group hug. That was awesome! I never felt so free, exclaimed Bloom as they exited the stage. Yeah, that was totally a rush. I wouldn't mind dancing again, said Naruto excitedly. You guys were great out there. We synced so well too, said Musa. So should we head out? Now we can dance for a little while longer, said Naruto. The other two nodded in agreement, and they made their way to the dance floor. They stayed at the club, laughing and dancing the afternoon away. Pizza shop, 3 hours. After partying for a while, the trio left the dance club and went to get some food. Bloom and Naruto went inside the pizza shop to order a pie, while Musa waited outside for them. However, when they returned, Musa is nowhere to be seen. Where did she go? Questioned Bloom Musa. Musa, where are you? They then heard a loud echoing screech which shattered all the glass within the vicinity. People were panicking and running for their lives. Wait, that was Musa's sonic screech. She must be in trouble if she's using that in the city, said Naruto, alarmed. We have to find her. Bloom nodded and transformed into her fairy form, taking to the skies. Naruto jumped after her, hopping from the rooftops. Alleyway. 10 minutes later, we now find Musa cornered by a horde of witches, including the Trix. She had Beowulf equipped and was panting, tired from fighting off some of the witches. She was honestly regretting her situation right now. She had been waiting for Naruto and Bloom, when she noticed Riven and Darcy sitting at a cafe table. They then left, and she had moved to follow them, but was caught by Stormy and Icy. Icy began to make fun of her, calling her a weirdo and a stalker. She slapped Icy in retaliation, but that was a mistake. Icy and Stormy rallied some other witches from Cloud Tower to chase after her and corner her. She made a run for it, using Beowulf to increase her speed. She ran into Riven and asked him for help. But that jerk just blew her off, saying it wasn't his problem and that she should get Naruto's help. She then continued to run, until she reached a dead end. She used her sonic screech to hopefully get Naruto and Bloom's attention. She had been fighting off these witches for 20 minutes so far. You really thought you could get away with slapping me, didn't you, fairy? Icy said with venom. She then fired some ice shards, which Musa tried to dodge, but a few lodged themselves into her right leg and right arm, drawing blood. She screamed in pain and tried to crawl away, but Stormy grabbed her by her pigtail. "Oh, the little fairy bitch wants to run away? Not on my watch!" screamed Stormy as she began to shock Musa, causing her to scream, tears flowing out her eyes. "Stop it, please! Stop it, ahhhh!" She started but was interrupted by Stormy shocking her again. The other witches laughed at her screams. Stormy moved to shock her one more time, before two voices cried out, "Get the funk away from her!" Stormy was then knocked away with a fierce right hook and a powerful blast, her jaw aching from the blow. She had a burn mark on her arm. She looked up and was greeted to a terrifying sight. There stood Bloom in her fairy form glowing a fierce orange, with red scales around her eyes and wrists. Her nails grew longer and looked like claws, while her canines grew longer. Next to her was Naruto with blood-red eyes, elongated fangs and claws. His whiskers grew darker, and covering him was a reddish-orange bubbly cloak in the shape of a fox with 3 tails. "Go, what do you think you're doing to our mate?" asked Bloom in a deep voice. Icy observed Bloom, noticing the draconic features on her body. "No way, it's her. She has the dragon flame." Stormy, feeling brave, answered, "We're teaching that bitch a less crash." She was interrupted when Naruto blitzed her, giving her another fierce right hook, knocking her into a wall. Naruto followed up with a devastating punch to the gut, burying Stormy deeper in the wall and knocking her unconscious. He then picked her up and threw her to Darcy. "Take her and leave, now!" he shouted at them. All the witches stood there petrified in fear at the beatdown he gave Stormy. "You're still here. I said leave ROERRR. This snapped them out of their shock and they all began teleporting away. Naruto then took a deep breath, calming himself down. The version 1 cloak receded, with his feature returning to normal. He turned to Bloom, and saw her kneeling next to Musa, her hand placed on the girl's unconscious body. Musa's body glowed and flashed orange, before it died down, revealing that she was completely healed. Bloom turned to Naruto, her form still oozing with power. "Our mate is out of harm's way, my alpha. She will wake up soon," said Bloom. Naruto narrowed his eyes, before they widened. "You're the manifestation of her dragon flame, aren't you?" "She really does have it," said Naruto in amazement. "You truly are a smart one, my alpha." "You are correct in your assumption," Bloom said. "I ask that you keep this a secret from my host. She is still not ready for the responsibility that comes with wielding this power." Naruto seemed conflicted, before eventually nodding and said, "I understand. I just hope that she won't be mad at me when she finds out." His expression was worrying. Bloom walked forward, grabbing the sides of his face and pulling him into a passionate make-out session. She released him and said, "Do not worry, my alpha, she will understand when she's ready. My time is up for now. Please continue to take good care of her." Her body was covered in a flash of light, before it died down, revealing Bloom in her civilian form. "Whoa, what happened?" said Bloom, a little dizzy. "You just exploded with power. I also used my Jinchuriki cloak and we scared the witches off." "You also healed Musa in the process," said Naruto, deciding not to tell her about the dragon flame. "Ugh, my head," they heard Musa groan. They turned to see her getting up. Seeing Naruto, she began to tear up, moving forward, grabbing him into a hug. He held her tight, letting her pour it out. "Are you feeling better?" he asked, rubbing her back. She let him go and pulled him into a make-out session, before stopping and said, "Yeah, thank you for saving me. I really was scared for my life." She gave him one more kiss, then turned to Bloom. "And thank you, Bloom, for healing me. Do I get a kiss as well?" She pouted jokingly, but was surprised when Musa grabbed her face and locked lips with her. She let go a few moments later, leaving Bloom red in the face. "Hot damn," said Kurama. "Shit, that's hot," Naruto said, trying to keep little Naruto under control. Tastes like pepperoni," said Musa with a sultry grin. "I was kidding." "Oh god, you're like a second Roxy," said Bloom, covering her face in embarrassment. "Well, anyway, let's call it a day and head home," Naruto said. "It's getting late. And you guys have curfew." The girls nodded and the trio made their way to the bus. Althea, 1 hour later. Naruto walks the girls to the front of Althea. He kisses them goodbye, smacking them in the rear as they walk away. He then makes his way to his house. Once at the door, he walks in and puts his keys down. Heading up to his room, he is greeted to an amazing sight. "Oh god. She is like another Roxy," said Naruto. "Are you guys sure you want the other girls in on this?" "I'm perfectly okay with just you four." "Of course, babe. Who better to hold our hearts than someone we trust with our lives?" said Stella, giving him a passionate kiss. "Plus, I want them all to experience the love that you can give them. I love you, Naruto." Again Naruto teared up at those magic words and replied, "I love you too, Stella, I really do." "Good night, Stella." Good night, my foxy Prince Charming, she replied. They drifted off to sleep, enjoying each other's embrace. Althea, the next morning, Naruto and Stella appeared in the Winx dorm with a flash. They were making out, before Stella pulled back saying thanks for last night. It was wonderful. She had a dazed smile. They heard doors opening, seeing the other girls dressed for class. Roxy skipped to Stella and grabbed her hands. So Stella, how was last night? She asked out loud for the other girls to hear. A huge smirk was on her face. Oh, it was amazing. He was so rough and forceful, but gentle and loving when you wanted him to be, Stella said with a loving smile. The other girls not dating Naruto blushed atomic red. They quickly shuffled out, saying they had things to do. You guys are evil, Musa said with a laugh. I like it. We should really keep this up. Who do you think is gonna cave in next? Techno will most likely be last, since the girl has trouble with emotions still, said Roxy with a thoughtful look. Aisha, said Stella with a knowing look. I don't know, Flora may surprise us, Bloom said with a finger on her chin in thought. Naruto looked at his girlfriends plotting, thinking, Kurama, what have I gotten myself into? I'm telling you, my boy, it's that devil's luck of yours taking full effect, Kurama told him from within the seal. Naruto shook his head in amusement. Cloud Tower, that same moment. Okay, are we gonna talk about what the hell was that? Screamed Stormy. She had a cast on her arm and bandages on her face from the damage she suffered. It turns out Bloom has the dragon flame, though I'm not sure how she got it, said Icy. But that Naruto guy, he had some serious power as well. It was so intoxicating. And he looked so wild, she thought with a flush on her face. Darcy nodded, and said he used that same power on me, to make sure nothing happened to Riven. It's obvious he was holding back when he fought us. Stormy's condition is proof enough. Ugh. I can't wait till I get my hands on him. He's dead, I tell you, dead, shouted Stormy in anger. You fool! We have to be careful around him, Icy said with a glare. He could kill each of us alone and together, quite easily. Stormy, she's right. We need to be careful, and make sure not to harm those fairies he hangs around with, otherwise we could end up like you. Or worse, Darcy said with a shudder. Ugh, fine. We'll play mouse around that Naruto guy, she said while getting up and heading to the door. Where are you going, sister? Asked Darcy in confusion. I have another date today. He's taking me to the movies, and a restaurant for dinner later, Stormy explained, with a small blush. Ho? Is that a blush, Icy? He must be really something if he can get you to blush, Icy teased her. I know you're not talking, Icy. I know you kept that nude you got from Naruto, Stormy shot back at her, with a smirk. Icy blushed and replied, I don't know what you're talking about. Enjoy your date, sister. She walked out whistling. Stormy rolled her eyes and followed suit, intent on getting to her date on time. Darcy watched them leave, thinking maybe I'll hang out with Righty Whitey today. She then left the room as well, locking the door behind her. Althea, the next day. It was the afternoon, and we now find Naruto in the library, making sure that all the books were in their proper places, while Bloom was sitting at a table searching through books. Any luck finding out about Daphne, Bloom? Asked Naruto from his spot. No, I haven't, and it's really frustrating. I want to know who this woman is and why she's contacting me, said Bloom in annoyance. Naruto moved over to her, giving her a small hug. Don't worry, you'll find out eventually. You just have to be patient with it, he said in a soothing tone. You're right, you're right. Okay, I'm good now, she said, taking a break. Everything seems pretty tight-lipped about her, though. She fixed her hair that had been messed up from all her searching. You know what? Let's head up to town for the rest of the day. Take your mind off Daphne for a while, said Naruto. Thinking about it, Bloom nodded at the idea. They cleaned up the books she had scattered and made their way to the bus. Magic City. 2 hours later, we find Naruto and Bloom walking the city streets eating ice cream. They notice a sign saying Art Museum, free painting lessons happening right now. Oh, can we check it out? Please? Please? Asked Bloom with the puppy dog eyes. Okay. No need to use those dreaded eyes on me, said Naruto in acceptance. They finished their ice cream and went inside. They reached the front desk and asked for directions to the free lessons. They were given name tags and directed to a room filled with about 10 other people and the teacher of the class. As they sat down next to each other, the teacher began, Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ms. Jean and I want to thank you all for attending this class. Now before we start painting, I'm going to go over the types of painting styles. She spent the next 20 minutes going over painting styles such as regular painting, oil painting, acrylic painting and spray painting. Naruto and Bloom found regular painting most interesting since it felt more detailed than the others. Now everyone please choose the type of painting you want to do. You'll be provided supplies and have 2 hours to complete it, said Ms. Jean. After everyone chose their style and received their supplies, they all got to work on making their paintings. 2 hours later, all right everyone. Put down your brushes and I'll come around to inspect your painting, said Ms. Jean. Everyone did as she said and waited patiently as she came around. Ms. Jean noticed some good paintings, complimenting them. When she reached Naruto and Bloom, she gasped and said, Naruto, Bloom, these are wonderful. Do you want to tell us about them? The other occupants of the room turned to see the paintings and were amazed. Naruto's painting was landscape-styled and the background was a deep ocean. It showcased 12 different colored flames at the base. From those flames sprouted 12 arms that pushed a sinking Naruto up to the surface. Bloom's painting was landscaped, and the background was a light yellow. It showcased a giant Bloom in her fairy form, holding her parents, Naruto and her friends in the palms of her hands. She was staring down at them with a bright smile. Well, my painting represents my girlfriends and friends. They are my pillars of support, and raise me up when I'm sinking into despair, said Naruto with a grin, while my painting shows my parents, Naruto, and my friends. They are the world to me and I'm grateful to have such people in my life, said Bloom with a bright smile. She grabbed Naruto's hand and gave it a squeeze. Well, I think they are wonderful. If you two don't mind, I would like to hang these on display in the museum, asked Ms. Jean. Thinking about it, Bloom and Naruto nodded. Sure, go ahead. I don't mind, replied Naruto. That would actually be really cool, added Bloom. Ms. Jean gave them both a thankful nod, and with help from someone that worked there, they carried both paintings over to a wall that didn't have any paintings hanging from it, and hung them both there side by side. They also wrote down who did which painting, and the descriptions of each painting. After they were set up, Bloom and Naruto left the museum and walked around for a bit. So what do you want to do now? Asked Naruto. Bloom gave it some thought, then replied, I think we should head back to Althea. I have my midterm test in the simulator tomorrow, so I need to get ready. I'm supposed to restore a barren world back to normal. Naruto gave a nod, and they walked to the bus stop. Little did they know, Riven had been there listening to the whole thing, his eyes glowing a menacing purple. Cloud Tower. At that same moment, Darcy had a hand to her head, eyes glowing as she received a message from Riven. She then said, Excellent, thank you for the info, my darling Riven. Anything for you, my sweet Darcy, replied Riven through the mental link. The connection cut, and Darcy turned to Icy and Stormy. Ladies, we've just been given a great opportunity, she told them, with a smirk on her face. She relayed what Riven had told her to them. Perfect, all we need to do is mess with that simulator a bit, and we'll have confirmation that Bloom holds the dragon flame, said Stormy, as she punched her fist into her hand. Icy gave a cold smile, saying, Indeed, sister, indeed. Althea, simulation chamber. It was the next morning and we find that everyone was outside the simulator. Faragonda, Griselda and Naruto were there watching the exams to see how the students did. Professor Palladium was manning the controls. All right, ladies, who would like to go first? Asked Palladium. Nobody spoke up for a few moments, so he said, All right, since no one is feeling courageous, Bloom, why don't you go first? Bloom looked nervous before looking at Naruto and taking a deep breath. She nodded, saying, Of course, Professor, I'm ready. She then made her way into the simulator, prepared for what's to come. Okay, Bloom, I'm sending you to the planet Domino. You need to try and make its barren land become thriving again. Okay? The professor said. He input a few keys and Bloom's surroundings changed to a barren wasteland. Bloom nodded her head and looked around. She then went into her backpack for supplies, but found an unexpected surprise in the form of Kiko. He jumped out of her bag and ran around for a bit. She laughed, going back to her bag and pulling out some seeds. She dug a hole, spread them about in it, covered them back up, and then she pulled out a water bottle and poured some water on them. She used some magic to make the seeds grow faster, with them sprouting into full-grown trees. Happy with that, she was about to continue when she heard some laughter behind her. She spun around and saw the Trix floating above her, looking at her with smug looks. Well, hello there, Bloom, Icy said, with her left hand on her hip. Looks like you're doing something really important there. Would be so sad if we did something to mess you up. She launched a blast of ice daggers at the freshly grown trees, destroying them. The hell? What are you guys even doing here? Bloom demanded from them. She immediately transformed and took to the shy, fire dancing around her palms. Stormy gave a smirk, and said, "We just thought we'd make this more exciting." "Is that so wrong?" she finished with a fake hurt look and tone. Outside the simulator, the spectators were surprised and worried by the appearance of the Trix. Palladium, is this supposed to happen?" asked Naruto in worry. No, it's not Palladium," replied, while tapping some keys in front of him. The controls then sparked and fritzed. Oh, I don't like the sound of that oh, said Musa in concern. "Yeah, Professor, what's the problem?" asked Roxy. "There seems to be a glitch in the programming. It's preventing any outside interference with the simulation," he said. "That also means that I can't pull Bloom out and she's on her own." "What?" shouted everyone. Naruto's eyes bled red and he grit his teeth. Back inside the simulation, the trio of witches were pelting Bloom with spells, which she blocked or dodged. She would counter back sometimes, trying to throw them off. The Trix frowned at this pitiful display of power from Bloom. "I don't get it. Where's that power from the other day?" asked Stormy with an unhappy look on her face. She must be mentally suppressing it somehow. "We need to stress her out somehow," Darcy said in thought. She then spotted something that made her grin and directed the others' attention to it. Stormy gave a nasty grin and fired a spell, causing an explosion that kicked up a lot of dust. There was a loud squeal that caught Bloom's attention. When the dust settled, she was greeted to the horrifying sight of Stormy holding Kiko over a cliff with a lava pit at the bottom. "Stormy, don't you dare!" she shouted, as scales began to creep their way onto her skin. Stormy gave a creepy grin, dropping Kiko over the cliff and said, "Oops, my bad. My hand must have slipped." "Kiko!" yelled Bloom, and there was a flash of light. A huge gust of wind appeared and knocked the Trix away. When the light died down, there stood Bloom glowing a fierce orange, and her draconian features having returned. In her arms was an unconscious but unharmed Kiko. "You bitches just don't learn. Then let me burn this into your minds. Stay the funk away from me and my friends," she roared out. She summoned lambent flare, raising it above her head and gathering her flames into the blade. A giant flaming sun began to form, swirling with fierce power. The sun then turned dark blue and Bloom shouted Dragon Commandment, Supernova. She pointed her rapier forward, sending the attack straight for the Trix. Yes. This is what I was looking for," shouted Icy with a crazed grin as the attack collided and detonated. There was a tornado of flames released as the Trix disappeared from the simulation. When the explosion died down, there was Bloom, floating in the air before falling unconscious and landing on the ground. Outside the simulator, Naruto immediately busted in, running to Bloom and made sure that she was alright. The other Winx and Farragonda soon followed behind. "Is she okay, Naruto?" asked Stella, worried for her friend and Harem sister. He gave a nod and replied, "Yeah, she's just unconscious and exhausted." Everyone gave a sigh of relief at hearing that. Farragonda looked around at the burning landscape and mumbled, "Why did you choose this place of all worlds, Bloom?" Naruto heard her but kept it to himself. "What happened to the Trix?" "You don't think Bloom actually?" asked Flora, scared to complete her sentence. Farragonda shook her head. "It's quite alright, Flora. Those were merely physical projections of them," she said with reassurance in her tone. "For now let's get Bloom to her room for some rest, alright." The Winx and Naruto nodded, carrying Bloom out the simulator. Cloud Tower. At that moment, the Trix were sitting in a circle with their eyes closed, before they all opened their eyes and gave each other excited grins. "Yes. She's definitely the one," Icy shouted out, still with the happy grin on her face. "All right, sisters. We have to play the patient game and approach this carefully," said Darcy in a thoughtful tone. "Ugh, fine, but I guess the power will be worth it," Stormy groaned out. "Yes, and I can cure my sister and home planet of their curse at long last," thought Icy. She then remembered what Naruto told her about having power, and the right reason to use it. This is the right reason. It will all work out in the end. She just hoped that he would understand why they had to take Bloom's power from her. Winxstorm. Next morning, all of the group were in the living room area, chilling or studying for the exam. Due to Bloom's giant leap in power yesterday, the simulator crashed, causing the midterm to be postponed. Stella joked that Bloom should do that again for their history exam. "Hey, has anyone seen Tekna?" asked Naruto, as he looked around. "No, not really." "You think she left early?" replied Flora, shaking her head. "Most likely," shrugged Bloom in response. They then heard some mumbling coming from Tekna's room. Going inside, they saw a bunch of Flora's plants moving around her room. They heard more grunting and mumbling coming from Tekna's closet. Opening it revealed Tekna bound and gagged with vines, and an unamused look on her face. Using wind chakra, Naruto cut her free, causing her to cough a bit. Okay, seriously, I came into my room for panties. I didn't expect to receive bond beat play from your damn plants, Flora, she yelled out. Flora flinched at the scolding. Tekna then asked what type of seeds were these planted from anyway? I'm triple S seeds, Flora answered, in a quiet tone with her head down. Triple S. You know how carefully those have to be handled. Come on, Flora! Tekna yelled out, making Flora even more ashamed. Oh my god! Shouted Stella's voice from her room. Naruto, Tekna and Flora moved to see what was going on. In Stella's room there were a bunch of plants and vines blocking her closet. Okay, seriously, Flora, these plants have gotta move. Stella shouted out, unhappy she couldn't get into her closet. Okay, I'm sorry. I was experimenting for my midterm and things may have gotten a little out of hand, Flora told them, trying to explain. I'll move them somewhere else for my experiments. Naruto, could you be a dear and help me out? She asked as she turned to him for some help. Sure, where are we taking them? He asked. I'm thinking of the black mud swamp, replied Flora. Oh, Flora, Naruto, do be careful, it might be dangerous, said Bloom in a worried tone. No worries, Bloom, will be okay, replied Naruto, spawning 4 clones to grab all the plants. He and Flora said goodbye and left the dorm. Seriously, guys. I know things with her plants have been hectic, but we did promise to let her keep some in our room, said Bloom in a disappointed tone, causing Tekna and Stella to flinch. Now I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going to help Flora. Musa, Roxy and Aisha nodded in agreement and left with Bloom. Stella and Tekna soon followed, feeling a bit guilty about how they yelled at Flora. Black Mud Swamp. 1 hour later, we find Flora and Naruto surrounded by Flora's plants. They were doing inventory to see if all the plants are accounted for. Alright, that's all of them, said Flora, smiling. Yeah, I gotta say your collection is something else, Flora, said Naruto, impressed. Flora blushed at the praise. The two of them heard footsteps and turned around, seeing the rest of the winx coming into the clearing. Hey Flora, we decided to come and help you prepare for your midterm, said Bloom in greeting. Yes, I believe that we were a little harsh with you. So me and Stella wanted to make it up to you, said Tekna in an apologetic tone. Ah, thank you guys, said Flora with a smile that radiated happiness. Well, all I really need help with is finding the cheerful gladiolus flower. I have a potion that can duplicate things I drop it on. Flora showed the group what the flower looked like, with them nodding and beginning to search for the plant. 2 hours later, it has been a while and the group are nowhere close to finding the plant. They tried going deeper into the swamp, but still had no luck. They were walking down a path when Stella suddenly tripped and fell, getting dirt on her face. Ugh. I can't take it anymore. I'm tired, sweaty, and I can't stand this messy SWMMPH, Stella started but was interrupted by Flora's hand clamping down on her mouth. Sure, look, she said, pointing near the edge of a lake. There were small blue mermaid-like creatures laying on a plant near the water. Those are undines. Maybe they can help us find the PLAUCH. Flora started but screamed as Stella bit her hand. Don't do that again, said Stella loudly, alerting the undines of their presence. Oops. The undines tried to flee, but Flora calls out, wait, please don't go. We mean you no harm. We actually could use your help. This caused the undines to stop their retreat. Flora continued, we're looking for a plant known as the cheerful gladiolus. Do you know where we can find it? The undines adopted thinking poses, before saying we might not know where it is, but our queen should definitely know where it is. Follow us please, they turned and swam off with the others following them. 30 minutes later, after following the undines, the group came upon a medium-sized island filled with more of the species. The girls were amazed with how many undines there were. You won't be able to enter our home, but we'll inform our queen that you're here, said one of the undines. The group nodded and waited for a bit, while one of the undines went under the water. A few minutes later, a miniature throne popped out of the lake, revealing a gold-colored undine. Greetings, young ones, I am the queen of the undines. I'm told that your group is looking for the cheerful gladiolus, said the queen. They nodded and she replied, I can get it for you, but my people are in need of your services. Sure, what can we help you with? Said Flora, with the rest of the group agreeing to help. There is a terrible monster that threatens us daily. We could use some help getting rid of it, said the queen. Wait, if it's threatening your home, why don't you just move then? Asked Bloom, a little confused. We can't move due to a plant that's vital to our survival called a zilith. And it only grows on this island, replied the queen. We sent one of our own, Lose Eyes, to harvest it, but she hasn't returned in a while. We believe that the monster is responsible for this. It is located at the base of the island. The group nodded and the girls transformed, taking to the air, while Naruto Water walked to the base of the island. Once they reached their destination, they looked around for the monster the queen was talking about. Damn, this might take a while, said Naruto, getting a little impatient. Great, just what we need. More time in this icky swamp. I can't take this anymore. Did you guys hear that? Started Stella till she heard a noise. I think I heard something. Maybe you're just hearing things. There's nothing out though, HSHIT. Started Musa before she yelled as a giant black creature popped out and ate her. It then dove back underwater. Musa! Yelled Naruto. Guys, we're going after them, said Bloom with authority. She casted an air bubble spell on the group and they dived in after Musa. When submerged, they saw the beast's head and swam towards it, pelting it with energy blasts to get it to open its mouth. Naruto entered Sage mode and grabbed its jaws, prying them open and holding them in place. This allowed Bloom to slip in and grab Musa, quickly retreating to the surface. Naruto let go of the beast's jaws and kicked it in the head to disorient it and cover their escape. Back on the island's surface, we find Bloom pumping Musa's chest, causing the girl to cough out water. Cough, cough, man, that wasn't fun, said Musa, getting the rest of the water out. Thanks for the save, guys. No problem. That thing has a really tough hide though. I don't think any energy attacks will hurt it, said Roxy. Maybe we should focus on finding Lose Eyes instead. The group nodded and began wandering the island in search of the lost Undine. A few moments later, they all began to feel drowsy. It was getting hard to stay awake, and some of the girls collapsed. Flora then noticed the source of a problem. Oh. It's a red willow, she said, pointing toward a giant red plant with vines waving around. It releases a gas that puts people and animals to sleep. Technic, can you make a barrier to block out the gas? Asked Naruto, feeling tired. Techna nodded, conjuring a dome of energy to protect the group. The fallen girls began to get up. That was when Naruto noticed a small yellow Undine waking up as well. Hey there, are you Lose Eyes? He asked her. She gave a nod, then she asked, who are you and how did you know my name? Aisha replied, your queen told us she sent you here, but that you didn't return. So she sent us to find you, and to get rid of the monster. Wait, that isn't a monster. It's actually a turtle, and the island is its shell. It's been sleepwalking for eons because of the red willow, said Lose Eyes, shocking the group. Bloom and Flora, looks like we got a plant to uproot, said Naruto with a serious look. I'll get it out of the ground, then help Bloom burn it. Flora, you focus on dispelling the gas. The other two nodded. They all signaled for Technet to make a hole in the barrier and got to work. Flora uses her control over plants to direct the gas away from the group. Naruto then used Earth Style, Earth Pillar, to uproot the red willow, sending it into the air. Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu, Dragon Fire, intoned Naruto and Bloom, releasing streams of fire and burning the red willow to ash. Naruto used a blast of wind style to dispel the ash and the rest of the gas. 30 minutes later, we now find the group and Lose Eyes in front of the queen. The girls had returned to their civilian forms and were kneeling, along with Naruto. I thank you for finding Lose Eyes and getting rid of the red willow. The turtle has left our habitat, but it allowed us to collect as much zilith as we could, said the Queen Undine, gesturing to the large pile of flowers. Though we will eventually run out since the soil isn't fertile enough to grow them. Said Flora in a thinking position. Naruto, I got an idea. She then whispered in his ear, causing him to laugh and nod in agreement. He used Earth Style to open up some holes and plant some of the zilith into the holes. What are you doing? Asked the queen, curious. You'll see, your majesty. Prepare to be amazed, said Flora with a smile. She and Naruto clapped their hands and began to draw in natural energy. The group were greeted to the sight of Flora's sage mode. It appeared as dark green pigmentation around her eyes that extends to her ears, also gaining an additional round marking on her forehead with a diamond marking in its center. Growing from the diamond marking were wavy line markings that went from her head to her chest and arms. 1. She took Naruto's left hand in her right, as a green orb appeared in their conjoined hands. They slammed it into the ground, shouting, Sage art, nature's rejuvenation. Green vein-like lines of natural energy spread over the ground, touching each planted xylith. The xyliths reacted to the energy, rapidly growing into full-grown trees with multiple xyliths hanging from its branches. This surprised the queen and the other Undine watching, along with the rest of the winx. Woohoo, that worked! Yeah! Exclaimed Flora, slapping Naruto on the back. Naruto tumbled forward into the ground. Oops, sorry. I'm not used to the strength boost in this form yet. She moved to pull him up, but tripped and landed on top of him instead. Flora, I think you might want to cancel Sage Mode now, said Naruto, groaning from cushioning her fall. His sage markings began to recede. Sorry, she said with a blush as her sage markings receded. I have to thank you for teaching me though. No problem, replied Naruto with a grin. The Undine Queen then approached the duo. You two have done us Undines a great service. As your reward, here is the cheerful gladiolus that you were searching for, she said, levitating a purple plant into Flora's hands. Yay! Now I have everything ready for my midterm tomorrow, she said in happiness. Also guys, you don't have to worry about my plants anymore. I'll find a different location to put them. Ugh, finally. Now we can get out of this icky swamp and back to the comfort of our dorm, Stella said in relief. Stella, you do know that your test is after mine, right? Said Flora, causing Stella to panic. What already? But I'm not ready yet, she said distraught. The others began to laugh at Stella's misfortune. Flora's room, evening time. We now find Naruto with Flora, helping her go over her notes for her midterm. She had chosen to restore a barren environment. The other had decided to go to bed early. Alright, it looks like you have all your preparations for your midterm set. I hope you pass with flying colors, Flora, said Naruto. He got up to leave, but was stopped by Flora grabbing his arm. Is something wrong? She stood up, a blush written all over her face. Taking a deep breath, Flora grabbed his face and pulled him into a searing kiss. Naruto froze for a second, before returning the kiss full force. They continued making out for a few minutes before Flora let go and began to take off his shirt. Hey! Whoa there! Flora, you're going a little fast there. Are you sure you want this? Asked Naruto. I'm definitely sure. I'll be honest with you, I was kinda scared to confess to you. I mean, you have girls like Stella, who's a princess, with you. I'm just a shy girl from Linfia who's a nature nut, she said. You know you're more than that. You're kind, sweet, beautiful, and the most caring person I've met, said Naruto, not wanting her to doubt herself. And that right there is why I choose to confess and have this moment with you. You always find the good in others. Bloom and the other girls are lucky to have you. And I'm not against the whole sharing idea, she said with a blush, hugging him close. The next morning, Naruto woke up, to both Musa and Flora still asleep with their heads on his shoulders and their arms wrapped around his. He could also feel his arms pressed against their breasts. Although he found this quite nice, he did need to get up, and the same for the girls. He leaned towards Flora, and gave her a kiss on the mouth which made her moan and open her mouth to return the kiss. Her eyes fluttered open, and saw Naruto's blue eyes looking into her own jade-green ones. Naruto pulled back and gave her a smile, saying, "Good morning, beautiful." She gave him a small smile, replying, "Morning, handsome. I hope that you wake me up some more like that in the future." She then sat up, and stretched herself out. He then turned to Musa and woke her up the same way. When he pulled away, she moaned out, "No, don't stop kissing," as she opened her eyes to see an amused look on Naruto's and Flora's faces. "Sorry, Musa, but we need to get up now. And you girls have your midterm exams today, remember?" Naruto told her. She buried her face into his shoulder, mumbling out, "Don't want to stay with my handsome boyfriend in bed all day." Naruto shook his head as he got out of bed, which made Musa whine at him getting up. Flora was already getting dressed, finding this amusing to watch. "Come on, Musa, time to get up. And maybe Naruto could give you a reward if you do well on your exam," she said in an enticing tone. Musa quickly sat up, turned to Naruto, who was getting dressed, and asked, "Would you really?" As she gave him the puppy dog eyes, Naruto gave a shrug and replied, "Maybe. Do good on your exam, and we'll see." She gave a squeal, got out of the bed to give him a quick kiss on his cheek, took down the quieting spell, then ran off to her bedroom. Naruto and Flora gave a shake of their heads as they finished getting dressed before Naruto said to her that should help Musa get motivated for her exam, now that she knows she'll be rewarded for a good score. Flora merely shrugged with a sexy smile, and kissed his other cheek, saying, "Whatever works, Naruto." She then walked out of her room, with a sexy sway of her hips for Naruto's viewing pleasure. Naruto gave a happy sigh with a smile on his face, thinking I love these girls so much as he too walked out of Flora's room. Winx cluster, the same time. All the other girls were already awake, when they saw Musa running out of Flora's room naked and a happy smile on her face. She quickly said to them, "Morning, girls." "Lovely morning, isn't it?" Then ran into hers and Aisha's room to get dressed. The girls were all surprised at what they saw, with no one noticing the blush on Tecna's face. Their surprise grew when they saw Flora and Naruto walking out together, and a happy smile on Flora's face too. It didn't take long before Stella realized why Flora and Musa were both smiling and coming from the same room with Naruto. "So Flora, how was it?" said Stella to Flora. Flora smiled and blushed at being caught, and Tecna's blush increased as she remembered what she saw happening last night. "Best night of my life, and I look forward to more," she replied, kissing Naruto on the cheek. The rest of the girls already part of Naruto's harem were happy to have Flora and Musa being in the harem, and when Musa came back all dressed, the girls asked her what Naruto was like. And while they talked, Naruto stood there with a crimson look on his face and Kurama laughing his head off at what the girls were saying. Once they'd finished talking, the girls in the harem each gave him a kiss, which he returned, and they all walked off to get breakfast. Simulator room, 3 hours later. "Alright ladies, the simulator has been fixed. So we'll be continuing with midterms today," Palladium said. "The students that still have to perform are Flora, Musa, Tecna, Priscilla, Hortensia, Luna and Stella." "Ah man, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this," said Priscilla, nervous. "Yeah, same here," said Hortensia. "Don't worry ladies. We have this exam in the bag," said Luna, in a confident voice. "Luna, the only reason you're prepared is because you're always studying," said Priscilla to the nerdy girl. "Well, I'm up." "Wish me luck, guys," said Flora, grabbing her things. Naruto gave her a good luck kiss and she hopped into the simulator. "And your choice, Flora?" asked Palladium. "Restoring a barren environment, and revoking the sadness brought on by a witch's magic," she replied from inside the monitor. Palladium nodded, and typed into the computer what Flora wanted. 2 hours later, class was almost over and most of the girls had already finished. It was now Stella's turn, but she was nowhere to be seen. Has anyone seen Stella?" "I hope she isn't trying to skip out on this exam," said Palladium. "Oh, Stella said she wasn't feeling well. She went to the nurse's room," said Bloom, remembering that just now. "Oh well, that's a shame. I hope she feels better. She has a lot of things to make up for this semester," he said. "Alright ladies, class is dismissed for the day. Be sure to return here tomorrow for the last performance." The students nodded, and began to exit the room. "Hey guys, I'm going to check up on Stella. I'll meet you back at the dorm," Bloom said to the others. They nodded and split off. Winx cluster, 30 minutes later. We find Naruto and Musa making out on the couch, with Musa sitting on his lap. Flora was in her room resting, while Roxy and Aisha were playing a game of chess. Tecna had left, saying that she needed to talk to Ms. Farragonda. Naruto and Musa separated, with her saying "So about that reward?" She rubbed his chest in emphasis. "Oh, I was thinking maybe a date. How about we go see a movie and maybe hit up that music club again?" he said with a grin. "That sounds perfect," she replied, kissing him again. They heard the door open, revealing Bloom with a confused face. "Hey guys. So the funny thing is, it turns out Stella wasn't actually sick at all. She chose to skip class," she said. "Why though?" "That test wasn't even hard," said Roxy in a nonchalant tone. "She can't keep running away from her work. She's gonna end up failing," said Aisha, making her move on the board. "Checkmate." "Ugh," said Roxy. They all heard the door to Stella's room open up as she walked out. She looked really happy for some reason. "Ho! Stella, where have you been?" asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow, noticing that she was dressed fancy. He sniffed the air, picking up something. "And what's that smell?" "Oh, that is my new perfume. It's called Infinite Sunset. I've been getting ready for the event today," she said in an uppity tone. What event are you talking about?" asked Musa, curious. "Why, the Miss Magic's beauty contest, of course. I'm dead set on coming in first place this year," said Stella with a fire of determination. "Stella, what about your work? You could end up failing and getting kicked out again," asked Naruto. "Oh, don't worry, I'll study real hard afterward, promise. I could use some support though." "Will you guys come and cheer me on?" asked Stella, using her puppy eyes. "Ugh, fine, we'll come. But you better study hard, okay?" said Bloom, giving her a stern look. The other nodded in agreement. Okay. Thank you guys, said Stella, giving them a cheerful smile. Naruto then got an idea, grinning and relaying it to Kurama. So Kurama, what do you think? His response was a deep laugh from Kurama. Hee. Brat, you're so evil. That's genius. This is going to be hilarious, Kurama thought back to him. Cloud Tower. At that same time, we find Lucy and Mirda sitting in their dorm room. Mirda is trying to convince Lucy not to ask the Trix for help. Come on, Mirda, the Trix could totally help me win the Miss Magics contest, she said, assuring her friend. But Lucy, think about it. It's a beauty contest where magic is prohibited. You can't ask Icy, Darcy and Stormy to help you with a trick, it's not right. It could even be dangerous, replied Mirda, warning her friend. Icy, Darcy and Stormy are so powerful they can do anything. For them, it'll be a no-brainer to turn me into a stunning beauty queen. Even if the real me could never win such a contest, said Lucy, still intent on asking for their help. Lucy, come on, you don't even need this stupid contest, said Mirda, but those were the wrong words. Stupid contest? Stupid contest. This is my chance at becoming more well-known amongst the population. You know what? I don't need your support. You obviously don't understand how important this is to me, shouted Lucy, storming out the room to find the Trix. Mirda sat there, her head down in shame and disappointment at angering her friend and the mistake she was going to make. Miss Magic's contest. 4 hours later, as nighttime rolled in, the contest was getting ready to begin. In the crowd were Naruto and the girls, with the Trix a little distance away from them. Ugh, are we really helping this girl? Asked Stormy, having missed a date for this. Obviously not. Once she wins the contest, we'll take off the transformation, Icy told her with a cruel smirk. The announcer then came onto the stage saying, welcome everyone to this year's Miss Magic's beauty pageant. Tonight 11 beautiful young women will battle for the title. We all know the rules, no magic. All curses and spells are strictly prohibited and will lead to disqualification. This contest is a celebration of natural beauty. What could be more enchanting? The crowd clapped in approval. Now here are our contestants. Number 1, Miss Loney. Number 2, Miss Heidi. Number 3, Miss Lesta. Number 4, Miss Agwin. Number 5, Miss Bera. Number 6, Miss Stella. Number 7, Miss Lehona. Number 8, Miss Karen. Number 9, Miss Subita. Number 10, Miss Lucy. Number 11, Miss Mito. All the contestants wore matching pink dresses and high heels. The crowd went wild at the reveal of Lucy and Mito. Lucy looks completely different with a stunning face and makeup, with beautiful green hair. Mito was a girl with blonde hair in the form of pigtails, blue eyes and tan skin. Naruto narrowed his eyes when Lucy's name was called. Kurama, I smell foul play. She looks drastically different, he thought through their link. Yeah. I also sensed the Trix in the crowd. They may be involved, so keep an eye out for them, Kurama thought back to him. Naruto mentally nodded. Backstage, did you hear the audience's reaction when number 10 and 11 came out? I'll never win, said Stella, pouting. The group had joined her backstage. Stella, it's just a game, said Bloom, not understanding why Stella was being so childish. Yeah, but where's the fun if I don't win, she replied, still pouting. The door behind them opened up, with Mito and Lucy walking out. Hey, congratulations you two, the audience really loves you, said Bloom. Why, thank you. Also good luck to you, Stella. May the best one win, replied Mito with a smile, before walking away. Lucy huffed and walked away without replying. Naruto narrowed his eyes at that. Well, that was a rude way to react, said Bloom, offended. The contestants must also be polite and show some class, said Stella, a little ticked. Anyway, you guys should get back to the crowd. The talent round is coming up. The girls nodded, and wished her good luck, with Naruto giving her a kiss on the cheek. I'll catch up with you guys. I'm going to check something out, said Naruto, walking away from the group. He came up to Lucy's dressing room, knocking on the door. Come in, he heard her say. He opened up the door, walking in and closing it behind him. She turned to see who it was, but froze at the sight of Naruto. Naruto, what are you doing here? Oh, I don't know, checking on the girl who's wearing a face that isn't hers, he said accusedly. Lucy flinched at that, with Naruto saying to her, what do you think you're doing, Lucy? You know magic isn't allowed. Don't you ruin this for me, Naruto. I had to ask the Trix to help me with this. Winning this competition is important to me. Imagine how popular I'll be, pleaded Lucy, not wanting to lose her chance. You think this won't backfire on you? The Trix aren't known for doing things out of the goodness of their hearts, he shot back. But you know what? I'll let you learn from your own screw-up. He then walked out, slamming the door behind him. 1 hour later, the talent portion was on, though for some reason most of the contestants messed up. Naruto felt the Trix had something to do with it. Only Lucy's ballerina act went unhindered. Stella had just finished doing what she dubbed the happy dance, though it looks like someone tried to sabotage her. Thankfully, she was successful in her performance. Miss Stella, a few comments please? Asked the announcer. Stella nodded and spoke up URVMI, Elechilaspa. Huh. Her words came out as gibberish. Ha ha ha, of course, she can speak backwards. She just said absolutely, I'm very happy. We have here a truly gifted young woman, said the announcer, with the audience clapping and the winks cheering. Now on to our last act, Miss Mito, with the singing act. Mito came onto the stage dressed in a crimson dress, with crimson lipstick on. Her hair was worn down with one side of her face covered, giving her a mysterious look. She tapped the mic to test it, before beginning her song. Insert song, Legacy, by Kota Suzuki, verse 1. When those voices deep within bring you down to your knees again, redemption calls on to all of those who persist with the strength of the few. Bridge, don't come to question all that you've known. Remember, you are not alone. I will be here, standing beside you. Chorus, there is no mountain too tall to overcome. We will be as one. You will rise again. This is your legacy. Rise again. This is your legacy. Bridge, don't come to question all that you've known. Remember, you are not alone. I will be here, standing beside you. Chorus, there is no mountain too tall to overcome. We will be as one. You will rise again. This is your legacy. Rise again. This is your legacy. Song end. There was a silence before the room was filled with applause. People were cheering and wooing, giving her a standing ovation. Even the Winx had to admit that she was really good. Miss Mito, everyone! Exclaimed the announcer, getting another round of applause. In the crowd, the Trix were extremely frustrated by Mito's performance. Damn it, now our trick isn't going to work. That Mito girl is totally going to win, said Stormy, frustrated. We don't know that. Let's wait and see, said Icy, intent on seeing this through. Back on the stage, all the contestants had gathered to hear the announcing of the winner. Most of them looked disheveled and worn out, and now the moment we've all been waiting for. The coronation of this year's Miss Magics. But let's have a round of applause for all our contestants, said the announcer, getting another round of applause. He was then given an envelope with the results. You've all voted and here are the results. And this year's Miss Magics is Miss Lucy. Stella gasped, while the crowd went wild, cheering her on as the attendants put the crown and sash on her. Suddenly Lucy started convulsing, before turning back to her regular appearance. Seeing her true appearance, the crowd started laughing and booing her. Her crown and sash were taken. She began to tear up, running off the stage in embarrassment and shame. Naruto shook his head at this, before turning to the laughing Trix. He flared a directed blast of killing intent, causing them to freeze and look at him. His eyes were blood red, letting them know that he knows they had something to do with this. He then turned back to the stage. As a result of Lucy's disqualification, the title of Miss Magics goes to Miss Mito, said the announcer, drawing a huge round of applause from the crowd. Stella again was shocked and upset she didn't win. The crown and sash were put on Mito, as she waved to the crowd. Any words, Miss Mito, the announcer asked? Though he was confused when Mito started laughing. Hee, I'm sorry. Ha ha ha, please hold on. Ha 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 ha, hee ho 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 ho. She bellowed out, tears forming in her eyes. I'm so sorry, but it's so funny that I won. And why did you find it funny? Asked the confused announcer. Oh, because I'm not even a girl, said Mito like it was the most normal thing in the world. Awkward silence. What? Bellowed out the audience. Mito then exploded in a puff of smoke, which cleared away, revealing Naruto in all his glory. The Naruto in the crowd puffed, revealing a cackling Kurama. Wahahaha. Oh god, that was hilarious. I can't breath. Nice one, Naruto, shouted Kurama, trying to catch his breath. Ha 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 ha. You should see all your faces, said Naruto, laughing and rolling on the ground. What but huh? This is insulting. How can my own boyfriend be prettier than me? That's just not right, said Stella, confused and pouting. Yeah, thought all the other girls dating Naruto. Meanwhile, All the guys in the crowd were questioning their sexuality after that reveal. The Trix were speechless, with Icy blushing mad. Stormy then started laughing. Wahahaha, I'll give him that. That was hilarious, she said, losing her breath. Back on the stage, Naruto got a hold of himself and said, but jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the true Miss Magics. My girlfriend and princess of Solaria, Stella. He put the crown and sash on her, giving her a kiss on the cheek. The crowd bellowed out in woos and applause. Stella hugged Naruto tightly, jumping up and down in excitement and happiness from winning. Althea, 1 hour later, all the girls and Naruto arrived at the front of Althea. Naruto kissed his girls goodbye, but pulled Stella behind. Come to my house, Stella. We have stuff to do, said Naruto, picking her up in a princess carry and running across the lake to his house. He got to his front door, putting Stella down and opening the door. Oh, am I going to be spoiled? Fed some of you delightful cooking? Or maybe something more physical? She said in a sultry tone. She walked in expecting something romantic, but stopped at the sight of a pile of books and papers. What's this? Oh, this? This is all the work you have to make up, plus the review material for your midterm, he said, causing Stella to pale. Hey, I'm suddenly feeling really tired. I'm gonna go home, said Stella, nervously. She turned to leave but was stopped by a medium-sized Kurama sitting in front of the door. Nope, he said, shaking his head. Don't worry, I'll help you get through it. And you can eat my cooking while you're at it, said Naruto, putting a hand on her shoulder. You promised to study, right? Well, time to make do on that promise. Fine. Let's get this done. But I demand couch cuddles after, she said in a demanding tone. Why, of course, my future queen, said Naruto, bowing to her. The duo then got to work, pulling an all-nighter going through hordes of material. Simulator room, the next afternoon. All right, Stella, it's time for you to choose what you're doing for this exam, spoke Palladium to Stella, who was inside the simulator. Restoring a barren environment, Professor, she replied. Next to her were a bunch of materials and a bag for her assignment. Palladium punched in the settings, changing the area around Stella into a dry and broken landscape. All right, Stella, you may begin, he said, sitting back and watching the show. Stella got to work, planting a bunch of seeds in the ground, making sure to space them out. She watered them, using all the water she brought. She then gathered light in her hands, yelling, Radiant light! Bless these little seedlings with the solar nutrients they need to prosper. The sunlight in the simulation was amplified by her powers, shining down and accelerating the growth of the seeds. They began to rapidly sprout and grow in full-grown trees, dropping more seeds from their branches, which also grew into trees. This process continued until the entire landscape was covered with lush grass and strong green trees. Wahoo, I did it! Said Stella, jumping in happiness. She ran out of the simulator and to her friends. Guys, did you see that? I didn't mess up. Her friends congratulated her, while Naruto gave her a tight hug. Excellent job, Stella. And with all that work you've made up, you're back on track to excel to the next grade, said Palladium, praising her. And with that, we are finished with the midterms. I hope all you ladies enjoy the upcoming Thanksgiving break. Have a nice day. All the students began making their way out of the sim room and heading towards their dorms. What do you plan to do for Thanksgiving? Me and Roxy are going to go home for the break, asked Bloom. Me and Musa are gonna chill here in Magix. Don't really have to feel like going home for break. Plus I owe Musa a date, said Naruto, with Musa nodding. I'm going back to check up on my parents and do damage control. See some of my old friends back on Solaria, said Stella. I kinda miss my family, so I'm gonna head back to Andros, said Aisha, with a shrug. I think I'll head back home and see how my little sister is doing on Lynphia, Flora told them. Yeah, I miss my parents as well, said Tekna. Well, okay. I hope you guys enjoy your break, said Bloom. The others nodded and made their way to their dorms to get ready to leave tomorrow. Naruto's house. The next morning, we find Naruto, Musa and Kurama enjoying a nice breakfast. Everyone else had already left for their home planets. Musa had opted to stay with Naruto for the duration of the break. I don't think I'll ever get tired of your cooking, Naruto, said Musa, happily eating away at the pancakes on her plate. She's right, brat. The girls snagged you at the right time. You'd make a great husband one day, said Kurama, devouring his sausages. Naruto blushed at the praise. Oh, stop, you're making me blush, he said bashfully. Do you ever think about it? Asked Musa. What do you mean? Asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Having kids? Starting a family, she replied. Naruto thought about it, before replying, I mean, yeah. I've been alone for most of my life. My parents left me the day I was born, and no adult in the village wanted to raise the Kyuubi brat. I had to live on a stipend, in an apartment by myself. Growing up so alone, having a family of my own meant the world to me. He paused, eating some more, then continued. Loneliness can really get to you. I have a friend named Gaara. He's a Jinchuriki like me. He grew up feared and alone. Even his own family was afraid of him. He eventually snapped, and went on to become a psycho murderer until I snapped him out of it. He's how I could have ended up if I didn't make the small amount of friends I have. So yeah, I want to have a family, and I'll make sure my kids don't suffer that loneliness. He had a fire in his eyes that burned with determination. Musa was touched by his passionate speech, getting up and sitting on his lap. She caressed his face, saying, well, you have family in us, Naruto. And I'm sure that it'll grow in the future with all the baby-making practice we've been getting in with this little guy. She rubbed his crotch, emphasizing what she wanted. You know what, how about we get some more practice in? I'm sure you're up for it. Naruto rapidly nodded, pulling Musa into a makeout session as they both began to strip. And that's my cue to leave. Enjoy yourselves, kids, said Kurama as he left through the front door, leaving the two lovebirds to themselves. Magic City. 2 hours later, we now find Naruto and Musa walking the streets of Magix for their date. Kurama had returned to the seal for a nap. The duo soon arrived at the movie theater, going inside and buying tickets for a movie of Musa's choice. We'll take 2 tickets for High School Musical 3, said Musa to the teller, who nodded. She turned to Naruto, saying, I really love the High School Musical series. It's too bad this is the last movie though. The teller gave them their tickets and then walked into the lobby. They grabbed some snacks and drinks. They made their way into the screening area, getting seats near the back, where the view was the best. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how this ends, said Musa, bouncing in her seat a little. Naruto placed his hand on hers, getting her to calm down. The movie begins, with the room quiets down as the audience watches in suspense and interest. 2 hours later, we now find Musa and Naruto exiting the theater, content with the amazing movie they watched. Kurama had appeared during the movie, wanting to see what it was about. He was now being held in Musa's arms. That was a great ending to the series. It will truly hold a special place in my heart, said Musa, with a peaceful smile on her face. Meh, it was alright. Though I prefer something with more action, said Kurama, yawning. Naruto was happy that she enjoyed the movie. He then asked her, so are we hitting the music club next? Musa nodded, saying, yeah, I want to get my song on. Kurama, are you gonna join us in song? She was honestly interested in whether he could sing or not. I guess I can bless you mortals with my divine vocals, he replied, puffing his chest in pride. Naruto and Musa rolled their eyes, before heading towards the music bar. Music club, 30 minutes later. Alright, Kurama, since your voice is so divine, why don't you go first? Said Musa, putting the mic in Kurama's little hands. Alright, watch and be amazed by mortals, he replied, picking the song he wanted to sing. He then put on a cowboy hat, seemingly pulling it out of nowhere. Insert song, Lil Nas X, Old Town Road Foot Billy Ray Cyrus. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. Kyo, I got the horses in the back. Horse tack is attached. Hat is matte black. Got the boots that's black to match. Riding on a horse, huh? You can whip your Porsche. I been in the valley. You ain't been up off that porch, now. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Riding on a tractor. Lean all in my bladder. Cheated on my baby. You can go and ask her. My life is a movie. Bull riding and boobies. Cowboy hat from Gucci. Wrangler on my booty. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. Hat down, cross town, living like a rock star. Spent a lot of money on my brand new guitar. Baby's got a habit. Diamond rings and Fendi sports bras. Riding down rodeo in my Maserati sports car. Got no stress, I've been through all that. I'm like a Marlboro man, so I kick on back. Wish I could roll on back to that Old Town Road. I wanna ride till I can no more. Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can no more. Song end. Throughout the whole song, Kurama did a little cowboy dance to go along. Musa and Naruto were a little wide-eyed at the display, but overall impressed. Okay. Look at you, Mr. Hate and Destruction, doing something positive. Are you going soft on me? Said Naruto in a teasing tone. Musa giggled as Kurama huffed. Che, you wish I was soft, he replied. Alright then, my turn, said Naruto, grabbing the mic and choosing his song. Insert song, Down by Law English cover, Mark de Groot. Me and you won't give in to the bad times. Change the game, forced to do it all without you. I'll survive. I learned from you what I should do. It's keep the good in mind, gotta keep my wish in sight. And believe it too, I hope it ain't too much. It's to stay with you, sure enough. I'm believin', don't need a reason. All my doubts beaten, cowardice in tow. Time to break it off and let it go. No matter what, gotta keep your head up. It's yours and mine to decide, now it's time to go. We can make it. No one can stop this. There's a future in our hands, don't care what has come to pass. You're my family, and they'll never change our dream. We are down by law, till the stars are gone. Any battle in the way, we'll defeat it all the same. We are down by law, every time we fought. Victory is what I feel, woo, we do it for real. Yeah, everybody time to break it down. Grow with the flow. Show what you know. Spread your wings across. Always good to take off. Riding high to the sky, even if I cry. Never losing with the crew. Let's get it on. It's all for one. Gather up your players. Head to head. Show your finest flavor. Nothing left to fear. Now my path is clear. Anything's enough to bless up ASAP. If it's me and you, we never need to stop till we break on through to the top. Getting pumped for the biggest explosion. Burning hot emotion. Heart like a ticking bomb. Light it up and set it off. Keep rolling, we're going all the way up. It's time to see places we've never seen before. We can make it into the new day. All the pain we give and take never changes how I feel. You're my family, and my love for you is real. We are down by law, and it's all because any problem, any harm, you take on with open arms. We are down by law, 'cause we stand as one. For the future that we feel, we will make it for real. We're at the goal, and they don't know how. Let's get it now. They still think we're gonna drop. Yeah. Show 'em we don't stop. We decide, in our mind and on the grind. That's what I'm talking about. It's yours and mine to decide, now it's time to go. We can make it. No one can stop this. There's a future in our hands, don't care what has come to pass. You're my family, and they'll never change our dream. We are down by law, till the stars are gone. Any battle in the way, we'll defeat it all the same. We are down by law, every time we fought. Victory is what I feel. Will we do it for real? Song end. The other two clapped as Naruto finished, with Musa saying seriously, babe, that was awesome. You have such a great voice and I'm really happy that we have that in common. She then grabbed the mic looking for a song to sing. Anyways, now it's my turn to wow you all. Insert song, this game, Amelie, like a child who keep on crying. Let the tears fall without holding back. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. I gaze up far away into the summer sky. You're always playing it cool while you refuse to show your tears, when really underneath you are afraid. You pray you never will lose all the things you're holding dear. You've been trying desperately to keep them safe. We've been through the worst of it, you and I. I look back on long and lonely nights. From this moment on, you don't need to hide away when you are afraid. Not anymore. Like a child who keep on crying. Let the tears fall without holding back. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. I gaze up far away into the summer sky. I willingly fell for their ruse with the words I longed to hear. They compelled the dark in me too easily, though I swore I never would lose the one thing I'm holding dear. It is you, alone, that I had nearly lost. Always scared of believing in anything. I forgot what it felt like to cry. From this moment on, the wind is right by our side. It's holding us up high so we can fly. Like a child I held you tightly. Let me near, holding your hand in mine. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. We gaze up and aim into the summer sky. We gaze up and race into the summer sky. In a world of vast horizons, it's so easy to feel you're alone. Let me hear every thought and worry in your heart. You may know, like a child who keep on crying. Let the tears fall without holding back. I decide then and there, although it's unclear what awaits. I gaze up far away into the summer sky. I yell out today into the summer sky. Song end. Woohoo! Yeah, Musa! Shouted Naruto, clapping and cheering for the excellent performance. Kurama was bouncing from his seat, clapping as well. Musa, I must ask, what inspired you to take the path of a singer/musician? You never really talked about it, he asked, curious. Thinking about it, she replied, well, I was really inspired by my mother, since she was a great singer. I can still remember all her lullabies. Unfortunately, she couldn't make a lot of money with her singing. She ended up getting sick and eventually dying cause we couldn't afford paying for the medicine she needed. Some tears began to fall from her face, but Naruto wiped them away. After that, my father grew to dislike music, blaming it for my mother's death. When I said that I wanted to go into the music industry, he wasn't happy with my decision. Ever since then, our relationship has been strained. She took a moment to cry into his shoulder, getting emotional. That's stupid. He should be supporting you and your dreams. I know that your mother would be ecstatic to see you follow in her footsteps. If I ever meet you, Dad, me and him are gonna have words, he said with a pissed tone, shaking his fist. Musa looked at him for a moment before laughing. Ha ha ha. Thank you, Naruto, you really know how to cheer me up. But I want you to leave a good first impression when you meet my dad. He's gonna have to leave a good first with all the girls' parents, Kurama said, causing Naruto to freeze. Ah crap, you're right. Damn, how are we gonna explain our relationship to all of them? Said Naruto, freaking out. Kurama and Musa laughed, surprised that this was what caused him to worry. Don't worry about it for now. We'll handle it when it comes up. For now, let's just enjoy the rest of the day, said Musa, patting him on the back. He calmed down and nodded before all three of them left the music club. Naruto's house evening. We now find Musa in the kitchen cooking dinner for the trio. Kurama and Naruto were waiting patiently at the dinner table. Alright, just a little bit of oregano in there. Pasta a la Musa, said Musa, adding some final spices to the spaghetti. She then pulled out some plates, filling them out with pasta and placing them in front of the boys. This is my first time cooking, so go easy on the rating. She then sat down with her own plate. Itadakimasu. They all said, digging into Musa's meal. They all took a first bite, before finding themselves enamored by the taste. Kurama and Naruto began devouring the pasta, while Musa giggled at their antics. Slow down, guys, I know it's good, but you don't want to choke, she said, handing them water as they began to choke on their food. They quickly gulped it down, taking a break. Ha, sorry. It's really good for your first time, spoke Naruto with a smile. Indeed, I enjoyed this quite well. Thank the sage I have taste buds, added Kurama, licking his plate. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think I'll add cooking to my hobbies, she said with a thoughtful look. She then looked at the clock, and seeing that it was getting late said, anyway, we should clean up and head to bed. Naruto nodded, collecting the dishes and washing them in the sink. 20 minutes later, we now find Naruto and Musa getting ready for bed. Naruto was combing Musa's hair, which she started wearing down. Kurama was laying on a small bed in the corner that Naruto bought for him. Alright, all done, said Naruto, putting the comb down. Thanks, babe, she replied, patting her hair a bit. Naruto nodded and the duo got under the covers of his bed. Good night, Musa, Kurama said Naruto, giving Musa a kiss on the head. The other two reciprocated the good night. Naruto pulled Musa close to him, holding her tight. They all soon drifted into unconsciousness. Althea, 1 week later. A week had passed and Thanksgiving break had ended, with classes resuming at Althea. It was now December of 2016. We find Winx and Naruto in the cafeteria eating breakfast, and going over what happened during their vacations. Kurama was resting on Naruto's head, so these guys tried to totally rip off my mom. But I was able to tell what they were up to thanks to my new skill, seeing people's souls. Though I can't see the souls of people stronger than me like Naruto and the headmistress, said Bloom, happy about her new ability. Seeing people's souls? That's kinda cool and creepy, said Tekna, not sure how to feel about someone peeking in her soul. Anyway, how was your vacation, guys? Asked Naruto. I just chilled with Dad and helped out at the bar, said Roxy, messing with her hair. Oh, mine was satisfactory. I enjoyed spending time with my family on Andrus, said Aisha, looking content. I did the same. My parents mostly asked about my studies and lifestyle here, said Tekna. Same here. Seeing my family and little Mila was great. I even have a picture, said Flora, taking out a picture of her and Mila. Naruto and the rest cooed at how adorable Mila was. My mom and dad were actually bearable and didn't fight. So that's a plus for me, said Stella, with a happy smile on her face. Naruto patted her on the back. That's great, Stella, and I'm glad your vacation was enjoyable, guys. Me and Musa mostly chilled at home, went on dates or slept, said Naruto, with a shrug. Hey Bloom, make any headway with finding out anything about Daphne or your past? No, not really. If only I could check out the Cloud Tower archives. They're the only place where I've made any real headway, Bloom said, frustrated. Said Naruto, thinking. He pulls out his phone, and dials a number while putting it on speaker so the others could hear. It rings for a bit, before someone replies, Hello, Headmistress Griffin speaking. Who is this? Hey Ms. Griffin, "It's me, Naruto," he replied. "Oh, Mr. Namikaze, what a pleasant surprise." "How may I help you today?" she replied. "So you remember Bloom, right? That redhead girl that you caught in your school," he said. Bloom flinched at this. Yes. That little upstart that broke into the school archives, along with her friends, Griffin said in a stern tone. All the Winx flinched this time. "Yeah, really sorry about that. Anyway, she's been trying to find out about her past since she found out she's adopted. The only place that she's made any headway in that agenda is your school's archives," Naruto said, with Bloom's eyes starting to widen. "So in exchange for a favor from me, could you possibly let Bloom take a look at the archives again? She'll have one of her friends with her as well, since I'm gonna be busy working." While I'm not too keen about it, I think I can make an exception just this once. "As long as she promises not to cause any trouble with the students," replied Griffin, shocking Bloom and getting a grin from Naruto. "Oh, you don't have to worry about that. She knows to stay out of trouble." "Thank you, Ms. Griffin," said Naruto, giving Bloom a knowing look. "No problem, Mr. Namikaze. By the way, I heard about your little stunt at the Miss Magic's competition. I must say I loved the chaos you caused. If you were actually female, I'd offer you a spot in Cloud Tower," she said, shocking everyone at the table. Wow. "Thank you, I'm kind of flattered," replied Naruto, feeling a little bashful. "It's no problem. You can tell Bloom to come over after school." "Have a nice day," said Griffin, hanging up the phone afterwards. "Thank you," yelled Bloom, tackling Naruto to the floor and showering his face with kisses. The other girls smiled at the sweet scene. She got off of him, turning to Roxy. "Roxy, can you come with me after school?" "Sure, why not?" Roxy replied, seeing no harm in it. Naruto then got up, saying, "All right, you guys have a nice day and stay focused during class." "I have to get to work," the girls nodded at this. Naruto kissed his ladies goodbye and headed off. Cloud Tower. At that same moment, unknown to Headmistress Griffin, outside her office was the Trix, who were listening in on her conversation. "So little Bloom is trying to find out her roots, huh? I believe we have a golden opportunity, ladies," said Aisha with a sinister grin on her face. "Indeed. This is the perfect chance to start breaking her down," said Darcy, mimicking Aisha. "I wonder how long it will take before she crumbles," said Stormy, laughing like a maniac. "To the archive, sisters, before Bloom gets here after school," said Aisha, making her way to the archives. Stormy and Darcy followed after her. "Also remember, if Naruto shows up, we book it. We can't risk fighting him." The other two nodded. Winx dorm afternoon. Naruto was walking to the girls' dorm room, hoping to hang out with Flora. He reached the door and went inside, but was greeted to the sight of all the girls except Bloom sitting in the living room area. They all looked worried. Hey guys. What's up? And where's Bloom, Roxy?" he asked. "See, that's the thing. We were in Cloud Tower's archives, researching anything that could be connected to that Daphne chick. We found this book called The Lost Book, and it said that it can answer any questions asked," said Roxy, taking a breather. She continued, "So Bloom asked about her origins, and the book gave some bullshit answers. It kept saying how Bloom is the incarnation of the 3 ancestral witches. And when she reached her full power as a fairy, they would take over her body and wreak havoc on the magic dimension." "Yeah, that's definitely bullshit. Something fishy is going on," said Naruto with narrowed eyes. "That's what I'm saying, but it seems Bloom was convinced. She ran out the room, saying she had to get away from me or else she'd hurt me or someone else she cared about. I tried to go after her, but she exploded in a flash of light, disappearing from Cloud Tower. I think she unlocked the power to teleport," Roxy told him. "Oh no, she could be anywhere in Magix. We have to go find her," said Flora, worried for her friend. "Yeah, we should probably split up as well. I can cover the ground with my clones, while you girls take to the skies and scour all of Magix. Red Fountain, Cloud Tower, the city, anywhere. We gotta find her," said Naruto, gaining nods of agreement from the other girls. They all ran out of the dorm, intent on finding their friend before she got hurt. Forest, 3 hours later. It had been 3 hours since the group began their search for Bloom. Roxy and Aisha had gone to check the area around Cloud Tower, while Musa and Stella scoured the area around Red Fountain. Flora and Techno were checking out the area around Red Fountain and the city, while Kurama, Naruto and his clones scoured the forests around Alfea. "Damn it, where is she? Most of my clones have popped, and they still haven't found her," Naruto said in frustration. "Yeah, even I can't feel her," added Kurama. The two of them heard footsteps and turned around, seeing Mirda coming through the bushes. Naruto, is that you? And who's this? She said towards Kurama. Oh Mirda, hey, what's up? This is my buddy Kurama, replied Naruto. Kurama nodded in greeting. But forget that, what are you doing here? Oh yeah, we have a problem, Mirda told them. The Trix plan on stealing Bloom's powers, but they have to weaken her first. I'm trying to warn her. She's at Lake Roculus right now. Come on. She ran ahead of them, and they followed after her. Lake Roculus, 50 minutes later. Today just wasn't Bloom's day. She had just wanted to find out about her past, but had uncovered a horrible secret. She was the incarnation of the ancestral evil witches, and was a danger to everyone. She had tried to get away to avoid hurting the others, but the Trix had found her and were now tormenting her. They had ambushed her and injured her legs, so she could barely move. Oh, if it isn't evil little Bloom! Who would have thought that she would be the incarnation of the ancestral evil witches? Icy said with a smirk on her face, as the Trix floated in the air. Yeah, someone like her should be locked up and throw away the key. She's a danger to everyone, said Stormy with an evil laugh. Why can't you guys just leave me alone? What have I even done to you? Screamed Bloom, tired and frustrated. Tears were beginning to come out her eyes. What's wrong, Dark Fairy? I like that. Bloom the Dark Fairy, it suits her no. What do you think of Dark Fairy? Said Darcy with a sinister grin. Shut up. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, said Bloom, fully crying and trying to crawl away. Icy stopped all chances at escape when she erected an ice wall. You're not getting away, Dark Fairy. We have a little offer for you, and it will happen whether you agree or not, said Icy, glaring at the crying girl. We can take away your powers permanently. Think about it, we get what we want and you get to go back to your normal bland life. You won't be a risk to all your friends, even Naruto. Icy then stretched out her hand to Bloom. Bloom couldn't believe what she was hearing, and that she was actually considering doing it. She slowly reached out her hand to take Icy's, before a voice rang out. Bloom! Don't you dare give in! A large-sized Kurama bursted through the wall of ice roaring, with Naruto and Mirda riding on his back. Bloom, you're not the incarnation of the ancestral evil witches. The Trix put a spell on the lost book to trick you and break you, shouted Mirda in warning. Then who even am I then? She shouted back in desperation. Naruto walked up to her, healing her leg and pulling her up. You're Bloom, my girlfriend and an amazing person. You could never be the incarnation of the ancestral witches, said Naruto, grinning at her. Hell, and if you were their incarnation, I'd fight this whole universe just to be you. He pulled her into a fierce kiss, while everyone else was shocked for different things. This kid just keeps on impressing me, thought Kurama, grinning. Ah, he's so charming. I hope Helia says something so romantic to me, thought Mirda, cooing at the scene. Even if she was the ancestral witch's incarnation, he still loves her. Does that mean I could have that love as well? I won't lie and say that I don't want that, thought Icy, a little jealous. Ugh, even I can admit that was sweet, though both Stormy and Darcy. Naruto. Thank you, thought Bloom, her resolve restored. She burst in flames, transforming into her fairy form. She turned to the Trix glaring and said, you ladies tried to break me, but I'm still standing. Now get ready, cause we're gonna bring the hurt. The group of friends faced off against the Trix. Sisters, we're leaving. We'll think of something else, shouted Icy, noticing that the odds were stacked against them. She opened a portal and flew through it, with Darcy following suit. Damn it, not before I at least screw with one of them, shouted Stormy, infuriated at being cornered like this. She conjured a curse in her hands, launching it at Bloom. Bloom, watch out! Shouted Mirda, pushing her out of the way and taking the curse. She covered in a green light, before it died down, revealing a pumpkin. Mirda! Shouted Naruto, rushing to his friend's side. Shit, I missed. She just had to get in the way, said Stormy, flying into the portal, which closed behind her. She dodged a fireball thrown at her from Bloom. Damn it, she's there but I can't get a response, said Naruto, frustrated he couldn't help his friend. He pulled out his phone and sent a text to the rest of the girls to meet up back at the dorm, along with bringing Helia. He turned to Bloom and Kurama, picking up Mirda and saying, come on, let's meet up with the girls at the dorm. The other two nodded. Winx dorm evening. After meeting up, Naruto filled the others and Helia in on what happened. Helia was furious about what happened to his girlfriend. Damn it, why Mirda? Just why? he said, distraught and his head in hands. Helia, I am so sorry for what happened. If I hadn't fallen for the Trix's plan, Mirda would have never gotten caught with that curse, said Bloom, bowing in apology. Bloom, there's no need to bow. While I am angry, you're obviously not to blame. The Trix were just messing with your head, he replied, waving his hands. He turned to Flora, asking, can you undo the curse, Flora? The girl was bee-pizing Mirda's pumpkin form and nodded, saying yeah I can, but it will take some time. Sorry. Helia waved his hands at her. As long as you can save her, then I can wait, he replied. He checked his watch and said I should get going, curfew is coming up soon. Good night, guys. He waved to them all, before walking out the dorm. Damn, I feel bad for him. I know I would be the same if that happened to you guys, said Naruto, feeling sad for his bro. Ditto, said Bloom, gaining nods of agreement from the other girls. Well, it's best not to dwell on the bad things. We should head to bed, said Musa, with everyone else nodding. They all bid each other good night, with Bloom dragging Naruto into her room. So I just wanted to say thank you for your words earlier today. But did you really mean the part with you staying with me if I was the incarnation of those witches? Asked Bloom, a little nervous. Of course. Just because you're a witch doesn't technically make you evil. I mean, look at Ms. Griffin and Mirda. They're pretty nice, but don't tell Ms. Griffin the first said that, Naruto replied with a laugh. Bloom giggled as well. And even if the ancestral witches possessed you, I would fight tooth and nail to get you back. Ah, such sweet words from Wa. I think someone deserves a reward for such a lovely and bold statement, said Bloom, dropping her clothes to the floor and pushing Naruto onto the bed. Oh, now this I like, said Naruto with a foxy grin. He pulled Bloom into a kiss, which evolved into a make-out session and a night full of passion. Winx. 2 weeks later, evening. A couple of weeks had passed by, with the only notable event happening was Professor Whizga's surprise quiz. He tempted the students with an envelope with test answers, but if you opened the envelope you got a nasty surprise. He stated that it was a lesson on dishonesty, and surprisingly only the Winx group passed. We now find Naruto and the girls relaxing in the dorm. Flora was still trying to figure out how to help Mirda, as she was writing on a piece of paper. Stella was doing her hair, while all the others and Naruto were playing a game of Uno. +2 for you, Musa, said Naruto, placing down his card. Nope, +2 for Bloom, Musa said, adding another card. Think again, +2 for Aisha, replied Bloom, placing her card down. CK, +2 for Tekna, countered Aisha, setting down her card. Denied. Double +4 for Roxy. No pick and play, retorted Tekna, slamming her cards onto the pile. Ah, come on, seriously? Said Roxy, taking her 16 cards from the deck. Your turn, Kurama. Kurama started cackling like a mad lad. Hee 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 ha 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 ha. Examples, Uno out. Read it and weep, bitches, shouted Kurama, slamming his last 3 cards down in succession. Grapha. Damn it, I really suck at these games, shouted Roxy, throwing her cards in frustration and pouting like a doggy. Naruto hugged her and placed a kiss on her head, calming her down. Welp, that was a fun game. Hey Flora, any breakthroughs on the curse? Asked Musa, curious. Flora shakes her head in denial. No, not yet. It's a pretty high-level curse and I'm racking my brain on how to solve it, she said, frustrated that she was nowhere close to breaking the curse. Well, maybe you should take a break. It's time for bed anyway, said Naruto, gaining a nod of agreement from the others. Naruto kissed his ladies goodnight, before joining Musa in her room. They got in bed and soon drifted off to sleep. Cloud Tower. At that same time. All right, sisters, repeat after me, said Icy, preparing to summon their new monster. Stormy and Darcy nodded and gathered power in their hands, channeling it into the summoning circle. They all chanted, Creature of nightmares, hear our call. Torment our enemies and bring their fall. The circle exploded in a flash of light, before it died down, revealing their new minion. It was a small black goblin, with red eyes and mouth. Did we do it right? Asked Stormy, disappointed by the monster's size. Yes, Stormy, it's supposed to look like this. It causes nightmares to its victims and feeds off them and their power, said Darcy, taking out a picture of the Winx and showing it to the monster. These are your targets, they're located at Alfea. Go! The goblin nodded and jumped out the window, rushing to Alfea. Winx. Nighttime. We find Naruto and Musa sleeping soundly in bed. The goblin appears through the window and hands above the bed. It conjures its power and blasts Musa and Naruto with it, trapping them in a nightmare. Naruto's mindscape. We find Naruto walking in the streets of a Konoha replica. He sees a crowd gathering up ahead and runs to see what's going on. When he arrived, he saw a child version of him being jeered on by the crowd. Why is he walking among us? Why does the Hokage let him live? Monster, fox brat, Naruto baka, dobe. The child Naruto was crying at the jeers, before he grew an angered expression and was covered in the Kyuubi cloak. He began attacking the villagers, slaughtering them left and right. Naruto, seeing that something needs to be done, rushes forward and grabs the child him into a hug. Let me go! Let me go! I'll slaughter them. I was a child. A child. And they still treated me like some stain. A demon! Why did they do that? Shouted Kid Naruto, thrashing in Naruto grip, burning his skin with the Kyuubi chakra. Why? Why? I did nothing wrong to them. Sure, I pranked the village, but that was only in retaliation to how they treated me. He had stopped thrashing and was now openly crying. His eyes were red with black scara. I know their words and actions hurt you, but they're not worth giving in to your rage. Don't become a monster and prove them right, said Naruto, holding his kid self tightly and rubbing his back as he cried. Besides, we don't need them. We have new friends and a bunch of lovely girls who love us for us. Silhouettes of the winx and the specialists appeared around them. Konoha doesn't know what it lost. So let's just walk away and focus on our future. He stood up, stretching his hand towards his kid self. His child self stopped his tears and began growing till he was Naruto's age. He grabbed Naruto's hand, giving him a wide grin and said, "Yeah, I think I like that. Thank you for being here for me." He then broke down into gold sparkles and flew into Naruto. Naruto heard one last whisper, "You know we'll have to go back sooner or later." Naruto nodded at this. He then disappeared in a gold flash. Musa's room. Naruto soon woke up in a jump, holding his chest as he took some deep breaths. He looked over at Musa and saw she had a dark haze over her head. She had half her body off the bed and was shifting around in distress. "Shit," he said, picking her up and laying her back on the bed. His hands glowed green and he placed them on her head, trying to undo the haze. It eventually went away and she woke up with a gasp. She looked around in fright, before seeing Naruto and grabbing him into a hug. "Hey, you okay?" asked Naruto, rubbing her back. She looked at him with tears in her and shook her head in denial. "No. I had this nightmare about my mom, but now all I feel is really drained," said Musa, sounding tired. "But that's not important right now. I think something caused that nightmare." Naruto nodded at that. Kurama suddenly appeared out of the seal and on the bed. "Naruto, I felt a malicious presence enter and leave the room." "You should check on the other girls," said Kurama, gaining a nod from Naruto. "I'll check on Aisha, while my clone checks on Tekna. Musa, you check on Flora and Bloom." "Kurama, check on Roxy," said Naruto, spawning a clone. The others nodded and they all split up. Aisha's room. Naruto entered Aisha's room and saw that she was in the same condition that he found Musa in. She was crying in her sleep, most likely because of her nightmare. His hands glowed green and he placed them on her forehead. When he saw it wasn't working, he forced more chakra into the spell, his chakra temporarily turning gold. He soon blacked out. Aisha's mindscape. We currently find Aisha on a beautiful beach, her mother, father and another girl joining her. It was a white girl with orange hair and blue eyes. This was her best and childhood friend Anne. They're currently enjoying a little picnic. Suddenly a massive storm kicks up, blowing away their food. Her parents and Anne try to reach for her, but are swept away by a giant tornado. Just as she tries to follow after them, a huge wave crashes into her and pulls her into the ocean. She is tossed and turned, before drowns deep into her subconscious. She opens her eyes and finds herself in a dark void. "Mom, Dad, Anne, are you guys there?" She calls out, tears starting to form. She tries finding a way out, but the void is endless and she soon starts to get scared, her fear of the dark surfacing. "No, no, 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 no! I don't want to be alone. Please come back. Anyone, girls, Naruto. Please, someone come find me. I don't want to be alone. It's so dark. It's too dark," she mumbles out those last lines, before completely breaking down crying. She wails and wails, hoping someone will hear her screams. She suddenly hears a voice scream out, "Aisha!" Suddenly there's a golden light that illuminates the void, before Aisha looks up and sees Naruto reaching down towards her, trying to grab her. She stretches her hand forward, grabbing his, and the void explodes in a bluish gold light. Aisha's room. Naruto and Aisha wake up, with Aisha quickly grabbing Naruto into a tight hug and crying her eyes out. Naruto rubs her back, asking, "Are you good, Aisha?" She lets him go and dries her eyes, nodding. Yeah, I'll be good. Thanks for the save." "I was really scared there," she replied, staring deep into his eyes. She inches closer to him, before kissing him right on the lips. Naruto was shocked by the bold move, but he soon returned the kiss, wrapping his arms around her. They continued this until they heard "Aiii." The two of them stopped their kiss, before cursing and saying shit. "Stella. We'll talk about this when we have more time." They both blushed at the same time, before shaking it off and running out the room. Stella's room. Everyone else rushed into Stella's room at the sound of her scream, but jumped back at what they saw. There was the goblin, but it had changed, now in the form of a giant lizard-like monster with a massive jaw. Stella was waving a lamp at it, trying to keep it away. "Guys, help me!" screamed Stella, as the monster took a bit out of the lamp. "Oh, I can't use my powers for some reason. I think this thing has been sapping our power and nightmares." It all suddenly made sense to Naruto, but for some reason his powers weren't drained. He chalked it up to his ever-growing reserves. "I got it," said Kurama, growing to match the monster's size and grabbing it with his tails. He swung it outside Stella's window, smashing it in the process. Kurama jumped out after the monster. "We'll handle this, guys." "You girls sit this one out," shouted Naruto as he jumped out after Kurama and the monster. The girls decided to follow after him instead to see how things go down. "Courtyard, vanishing Rasengan," shouted Naruto as he conjured a small Rasengan, before throwing it. It disappeared, confusing the monster before it was hit with an invisible force, knocking it to the ground. The girls were amazed at the new jutsu he just used, though they shouldn't be surprised since he was always training when he wasn't spending time with them or working. Kurama flew through hand seals, shouting, "Fire style, fox trap." He shot mini fox heads that flew at the monster and bit down on multiple parts of its body before exploding, kicking up dust. The dust cleared, but the monster was still standing. "Damn this thing, it's durable." "Naruto! It's because it absorbed all the girls' powers, it's a nightmare goblin. It grows stronger with every nightmare it reaps, and the more power it absorbs. It's gotten to the point where you'll have to go to the extreme to kill it," shouted Ms. Farragonda, who had come outside at the sound of the commotion. Some other students and teachers had come outside as well. Naruto nodded to her, saying, "All right, put a barrier up then. I'm gonna pull out one of my more destructive attacks." "Don't worry, I'll fix the courtyard after." Farragonda nodded at this and conjured a barrier to guard the students and teachers. Naruto turned to Kurama. "Hey buddy, you up for a combo move?" "You bet, brat," replied Kurama with a fierce grin. Naruto nodded, putting his hand out as a Rasengan began to form. But it went further, as it gained 4 shuriken-like blades and wind danced around it, causing whirring sound. This was Naruto's new technique, the wind style, Rasen Shuriken. Kurama put his hands under Naruto, adding his fire chakra to the mix. The Rasen Shuriken grew, and caught on fire in the center. Holding it above their heads, the duo threw it, and shouted, "Scorch style, Rasen Shuriken." The attack connected and pushed the monster into the air. Naruto and Kurama clenched their hands, shouting, "Burst!" The Rasen Shuriken burst into a raging tornado of wind and fire, cutting through the nightmare goblin's thick hide and incinerating it to ash. The tornado continued on for a bit longer, before dissipating. There were large scorch marks over the courtyard, small fires still present, and a huge crater. "I gotta love such blatant destruction," said Kurama with a grin, before Naruto smacked him on the head and forced him back into the seal. "Ruin my fun, why don't you?" Shaking his head, Naruto used water style, Great Waterfall, to put out the flames and wash away the scorch marks. He then used earth style to fix the crater, and wood style to regrow all the damaged plants. Admiring his handiwork, he turned around to the crowd, but was tackled to the ground by his ladies, though Aisha stood back. They all gave him smooches on his face, while the crowd watched in amusement and cheers. Naruto soon peeled them off him, getting up and dusting himself off. To be young again," said Farragonda with a reminiscent smile. The group blushed at that, as she continued, well done getting rid of that nuisance Mr. Namikaze. But I wonder who would have sent that monster, the Trix, said Naruto and the Winx. Naruto continued, they kinda have a personal vendetta with our group, especially Bloom, those girls. You'd think being seniors would make them more careful and less stupid. I'll be having a harsh talk with Griffin about this, said Farragonda in a stern tone. What about the girls' powers? Asked Kurama. Farragonda waved her hand at that. Thankfully that monster doesn't permanently steal one's powers. They should be back to full strength with a full night's rest, she replied, getting a sigh of relief from the Winx. Farragonda turned to the rest of the students and staff. Now off to bed, the lot of you. There are still classes tomorrow. The crowd began to dissipate, with everyone making their way back to their dorms. Cloud Tower, 1 hour later. I hope that you'll handle this appropriately, Griffin. Those girls have gone too far this time. Honestly, I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to torment the Winx, said Farragonda in disapproval. Yes, I think I've been too lenient with them. They'll be punished properly this time, you have my word, Farragonda, replied Griffin to the hollow image. Farragonda nodded and hung up. Griffin pressed a button on their intercom, shouting, Icy, Stormy, and Darcy, get you butts in my office now. 30 minutes later. Ugh, what's the deal, Headmistress Griffin? I was trying to sleep, asked Stormy in an annoyed tone, as she and the other entered Griffin's office. The deal is that you girls funked up. This is the 3rd time you've caused trouble at Althea, and the last. I won't tolerate any more of your nonsense, said Griffin in an angry tone. As of right now, you girls are officially expelled from Cloud Tower. I want you out of my school, now. This caused the Trix to freeze in shock. You can't do this. We're the best in this school, shouted Icy in indignation. I can and I will. You should have thought about this before you started this vendetta against the Winx. I will have your belongings delivered to you, retorted Griffin. She waved her hands, and the Trix were teleported outside of Cloud Tower. Outside Cloud Tower, damn IGTT, shouted Stormy, releasing her aura in rage. Stormy, calm down. I know things took a turn for the worse, but seriously throwing a power tantrum isn't helping, said Darcy, with Icy nodding in agreement. She's right. Right now we have to find a place to hunker down for the night, said Icy, rubbing Stormy's back and calming her down. Che. Fine, whatever, Stormy huffed. The trio began to walk off into the night, in hopes of finding shelter. Althea, the next morning, we now find Naruto with Aisha on a morning jog. They are currently racing through the forest, trying to reach the lake near Althea before the other. Naruto was currently in the lead, with Aisha close behind him. They eventually reach the lake, with the two of them tired. They take a seat near the base of a tree, while Naruto unseals some water and hands it to Aisha. She takes a big gulp, before letting a breath. Thanks, she said, panting and sweaty. No problem, replied Naruto, panting and equally sweaty. So, are we gonna talk about what happened between us last night? Aisha blushed at this, but shook it off and steeled herself. For most of my childhood I was alone, due to my upbringing by my parents. They believed that princesses should conduct themselves in a strict and proper manner. They scrutinized my every movement and thought, she started. I had only one friend that I made when I would escape the castle. Her name was Anne. She was so kind to me and even got me to open up about my fear of the dark. She's the one who inspired my passion for dance and taught me how as well. Unfortunately, she had to move away to Eros, leaving me all alone. I guess that's where my fear of abandonment stemmed from. I'm sorry to hear that, said Naruto in apology. Aisha waved her hand in dismissal. It's alright. I still miss her though, she replied. She got up and plopped herself on Naruto's lap, her face facing his. I'll be blunt, Naruto. I do like you and think you're a great guy. I see how good you are to the other girls, even when you're being inappropriate, and I would love to be a part of that. She started to smooch his face, before giving him a quick kiss on the lips. But if I do take this step, I have to know. Do you promise to always be with me and the girls? To not abandon us at our weakest and stand with us at our strongest? To not disappear and leave us distraught? She looked him straight in his eyes, with a cute worried face. Naruto stared at her longingly, before starting to kiss her face and neck, saying, I Naruto smooch Namikaze, swear on my life smooch to always love, cherish, smooch support and never abandon you or any of the other girls. He pulled her into a passionate kiss, which she returned. He began to grope her rear, causing her to moan into the kiss. She began to grind her ass on his crotch, causing him to grunt. They made out for a few more minutes, before letting each other go for air. A trail of saliva left behind and both their faces having a deep blush. She wiggled her butt on him a little more, before getting off and causing Naruto to groan in disappointment. "Ah, don't complain, I'm sure you'll get a chance to get in my pants sooner or later," she said in a teasing tone. "But seriously, thank you for that. I feel a weight lifted off my chest from hearing you say that. Anyway, I need to get back to the dorm and shower. I have class soon." She gave him one last kiss, before walking away with a sway in her hip. Naruto watched her ass as she left, thinking, "Kurama buddy, I love my life." He had a goofy grin on his face. "Indeed. I bet Kushina is up there in heaven, doing the happy dance at the thought of all the grandbabies that she'll be getting," he replied, laughing. Naruto blushed at that statement. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comment section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.